It's fall. It's cold out. It's in the 30s, even the 40s, at least here in Minnesota in the mornings. So what do we do to change our techniques for some of these fish that are starting to become more lethargic? For one, I still try to find the green weeds. Green weeds are very important. It'll hold fish. It'll hold fish all year long. And what you'll see in a lot of lakes, especially lakes with milfoil like Minnetonka, Forest Lake, Waconia, just to name some of the lakes in the immediate area, Minnesota, the weeds start to lay down. You can fish over the top of them. I've been very successful in the fall months fishing right over the top of the dying, I guess you could say, milfoil as it just starts to not mat on the surface. And the three techniques I like to throw at these when it comes to soft artificial baits are swim options. Options that can kind of hop and dance right over the top of those weeds, and it seems to trigger fish from a distance, get fish to come up out of the weeds and take the bait. You can slowly fish some of these into pockets along dock lines. I start to relocate towards shallow water. We've talked all summer about deep water finesse, drop shotting, jig worming, rock jigs, crankbaits. I'm starting to move shallower, and if I'm not fishing like a wake bait that's going to cover just the top of the water, or maybe a spinner bait, I'm throwing plastics. And what am I doing? One of the newcomers that I've been fishing this year is that new swim-sation from Mr. Twister. And this is pretty new in the market. Like I said, you're not going to find it many places. You can find it online pretty much right now anywhere you are in the country at mrtwister.com. And what it is, it's got a couple tentacles on the side of the bait to kind of slow it down, but it's basically your swim action cigar type bait. So you can see it's got the dimples, the pockets. It's the pocket series like we've talked about, where it has the depressions that catch and move vibration and kick water around, but it's got that paddle tail on it. So it's a great swimming option. You can rig it on a jig head, you can rig it on a Texas worm hook, you can Carolina rig this, but for me right now, I'm rigging it on usually a 4/0, 5/0 Texas rigged hook, and I'm just pitching that. It's going to drop about this slow over the top of those weeds. I can swim it back to the boat nice and slow so it gets that wobble action, pitch it along docks. You can skip it under docks, you can fish it over the top of the milfoil like I said, pitch it on lily pads if you rig it weedless. A very versatile bait for this time of year, especially as I'm trying to cover water if I don't want to be throwing something like a spinner bait or a wake bait. So that swim-sation's awesome. Next is kind of going a little more on the finesse side with a thinner gauge paddle tail, and this is just that pocket paddle tail. What it's going to do, it's going to have that flap on the back, you can see. And again, my purpose is to kind of get some vibration, get some noise going in the water, get some commotion, drawing these fish in where they might not be as active as we wake up to 38-degree temps, air temps out there, and the water's starting to dip into the 50 degrees. So rig this in a similar fashion. It's a smaller presentation if I feel like I need to go finesse, but more often than not, I'm going to hit them hard with that swim-sation type bait where I can cover more water. And last, but definitely not least, if you know me, you know I love to fish that Kamita. It's basically your soft plastic stick bait, and wacky rigging has become one of my go-to options for taking clients out on guide trips, fishing with my kids, fishing myself, fishing for fun, taking my wife out. It's an easy way to fish. You just hook it right in the middle, cast it over the top of those weeds, let it drop into pockets, skip docks. A lot of anglers, or a lot of lakeshore properties I should say, are pulling their docks now. And I can just go right down the shoreline, have it all to myself, and it seems like a lot of those fish move up onto the shores and chase the minnows. If you see some of the shallow bays that were abundant with bluegills, and you go in there now, you're going to see tons of minnows. So the forage is still there, the fish are coming in, they're not eating as large of baits, and a wacky rig option could work. So one of these three systems, you've got an aggressive swim bait, a neutral or finesse swim bait, and your wacky rig. If you're fishing soft plastics, we'll catch you more fish this fall. Get out there, have fun, put the warm clothes on, enjoy the fall bite, catch some more fish.